and welcome to today's episode of Smalls Talk, the show about everything happening at Mr. Smalls Theater, Funhouse, Cafe, and beyond. On today's show, we're happy to feature an interview with Hugh Twyman of HughShows and the Deutschtown Music Festival. We're also going to be talking with Joel and JP from Pittsburgh-based indie hip-hop group BBGuns and feature a few tracks from their newest album, Help Yourself. First, we're going to take you through the next 2 weeks of events. Friday, July 12th, Opus 1 and 91.3 WYEP present Soccer Mommy with special guest Kevin Crowder at Mr. Smalls Theater. Doors open at 7, show starts at 8. Saturday, July 13th, Opus 1 presents Miss May I with The Word Alive and special guests Afterlife, Thousand Below, Arcane Haven. Doors open at 6 p.m. and show starts at 6:30 p.m. Sunday, July 14th, this is an exciting one. We'll be celebrating the relaunch of Mr. Smalls Cafe with a special Cafe Sunday Fun Day from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. with featured musical artist Carrie Collins and featured visual artist Zachary Rudder. Starting on July 15th, the cafe will be open every day from 10 to 7 p.m. with a happy hour from 4:30 to 6:30, so you can pregame and grab some food before a show. Our daytime box office will be moving back down to the cafe on the 15th as well, so you can grab a coffee or a bite to eat when you come to purchase tickets with no fees. Wednesday, July 17th. Mr. Smalls presents Nicole Dollenganger with special guest Pat Coyle at the Funhouse at Mr. Smalls. Doors open at 7, show starts at 8. Wednesday, July 17th. Opus 1 presents Baroness with special guest Torch at Mr. Smalls Theater. Doors open at 7, show starts at 8. Thursday, July 18th. Mr. Smalls and Crafted Styles presents Alfred with Shormy, BBGuns, and the Bird Hour at the Funhouse at Mr. Smalls. Doors open at 7, show starts at 8. Friday, July 19th. Twist of Fate Productions and Mr. Smalls presents Heartsick with Reign of Z, Lumen, and Gator Shakes. Doors open at 7:30, music starts at 8:30. Saturday, July 20th. Twist of Fate Productions, The Crucible Project, and Mr. Smalls presents Little Bat's Birthday Bash, featuring the Filthy Lowdowns with Playgrounds and Han Drive. The show will also feature a silent auction to benefit local nonprofit Little Bags of Love to benefit those facing homelessness in Pittsburgh. Saturday, July 20th. Opus 1 presents Wild Blue Yonder, Yarrow and the Static, Rick, Awry, and The Creature. Doors open at 6:30, show starts at 7. Tuesday, July 23rd. Opus 1 presents Chris Webby with special guests Jaron Brenton, Locksmith, Eco, and Ches. Doors open at 7, show starts at 8. Wednesday, July 24th. Thunderhouse Limited and Mr. Smalls presents Hex Machine with The Wayward, Microwaves, and Whorehound at the Funhouse of Mr. Smalls. Doors open 8 p.m., show starts at 8:40 p.m. And that's everything for the next 2 weeks. Tickets are available to purchase without service fees at Mr. Smalls' daytime box office, Monday through Friday, 12 to 5, and in the cafe starting on July 15th. And remember to check out a Houston Cafe open mic night every Monday in the Funhouse. Sign-ups start at 6 p.m.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us here on Smalls Talk. My name is Jeremy Kaywood. I've got the one and only Hugh Twyman with me.
What's up? What's up?
Very excited to talk with you. You've been involved with the Pittsburgh music scene and for a long time.
Long time, as I was telling you before the cameras rolled. July 18th, next Thursday, 15 years.
15 years.
How about that?
What's that feel like?
It feels, surprisingly short.
Short.
Yeah.
Time flies.
It flies because I do this because I love to do it. Mm-hmm. And so with anything I've ever done with this, if I'm not having fun, I just don't do it. Mm-hmm. So there was like a certain point where I was like, oh man, I have to blog today. Mm-hmm. And I stopped doing that. I was like, I'll blog when I want.
Right.
I hardly take my camera out anymore because I just went to so many hundreds and hundreds of shows.
Yeah.
It's like, I just don't feel like doing it.
I don't have enough disk space on my computer.
Yeah, I have terabytes of photos.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible.
What got you into photography in the first place?
I was never really a photographer at all, and I was going to shows without a camera, mm-hmm. and I've been going to shows since I was, 12 years old.
Right.
So I was there at a show. I can't remember the specific show, but it was Songs Ohio. So they were a band, and I was getting into indie music around the turn of the new millennium,
right.
And I never saw one picture of them live, and it turned out it was just one guy, Jason Molina. Mm-hmm. So I never saw a live picture of him, and I looked on the internet And I was like, well, why isn't there any live pictures of him? So that gave me the idea to just buy a camera and take pictures. And it was a real little, it was a digital camera, but it wasn't SLR at all. So I started taking that, and I started learning how to use that camera, and learning composition and learning low-level lights. Like you're in a dark room where the action's fast, so you have to figure it out. So when I finally graduated to a nice camera, I didn't know how to use it, and so those first couple months, you could see the pictures, they're all blurry and they're just whatever. So I would just learn, and because I wanted to, because I was interested in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how that grew. And then
Is that when you got into the blogging? Was after the
yeah,
photos?
it was after, because I started this HughShows thing, and I'm like, oh, I need content. So it was a photography site, right? But and then I was going to shows, I was buying tickets, and it just got real expensive. And so I hooked up with WYP, and I posted, hey, they did a summer music festival, and I said, hey, I should be taking pictures from you. I was there. And then Kathy Raddock, she's like, yeah, you should be shooting for us.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. And then what I would do is I would shoot for them. And so I would contact the bands and the management, and I'd say, hey, I'm shooting for YP. Can I get a ticket? Can I get a photo pass? And so then
That's pretty cool.
But I went crazy, Jeremy. I went like 230 bands in 2012.
Wow.
230, and that's 2013. I did like 250. Whatever. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I was going out 3 times a week.
I'm
for
sure
the
your
whole-
family loved that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, but I was loving it, and I was having fun, and I was like 40 years old, so I wasn't that old. But but my girls were young, and so they were in bed at 8. So then I would go out, and then after a while, I was just like, do I have to go out and see? I just didn't. I just like it started to wane. My enthusiasm for actually taking pictures, and that's when the TV show came along.
Okay, so you went from picking up a camera just to go to shows and document it for yourself to starting a blog about all of this.
Yeah.
And was it just the photos that inspired you, or was it how many bands you had been seeing? Was
Yeah.
it the caliber of talent?
Well, the blog, there was nobody really doing it what I was doing when I started. 2004, there weren't too many people documenting the local music scene at all. There were a couple people, but they came and went real quick. So I found that I wanted to do something unique. So I would take the pictures, because the pictures were all my own, and I would blog about an interview. And I'm not a writer, so what I do is I send out, like if a band's coming into town, I would send out 9 questions, the first, last, and they're all the same questions.
Right.
And then I email them, and they get it back, and then I get it back and do up a blog page.
Yeah.
So I have 1,000 plus of those.
I got to do one of those.
You did get to do one.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
yeah.
It was real quick, real right to the point, but it got a lot out about who these people were.
And what album they're coming out with, or where they're playing, or it's just a preview or promote what they're doing, And it's bands have been very appreciative of that, So it's like, oh yeah, I'll fill out this questionnaire, no problem.
I find that a lot in this scene. Just especially, I haven't had obviously nearly as much time as you have in here in this music community, but I've been thoroughly enjoying watching it kind of expand more again. Which we'll bring right into Deutschtown music festivals coming up.
Yes, it is.
And how many submissions did you have this year?
Well, okay, we had through the website we had 520, I think.
Wow.
So I had a list of 520, but then this year, not knowing, I didn't know this, that Cody went through Reverb Nation.
Okay.
And so through Reverb Nation, we had 2,600 submissions. So those are national acts, right?
Okay.
So what his thinking is like, okay, we want to expand the festival, and the way we're going to do that is to outreach to other cities and other bands, and then that just benefits Pittsburgh bands, because if people come in and, if they, what's not campaign, with
Collaborate?
collaborate, but
Oh, goodness.
brain fart, whatever. No, they socialize and they network. And so they get to know whatever. But so we had 2,600 submissions, and I said, "Oh, that's real nice. Okay, who's going to listen to all those?
Yeah.
Not me." And it wasn't me. It was Jesse, Cody's assistant. And so he actually listened to 2,600. I'm told.
Wow.
He listened to 2,600 links, and then I said, pick your top 100, and I'll listen to those, and then I'll whittle it down to 30 or 40. And then out of the 500 local submissions, doing this for 15 years, I've recognized 300 of them.
Sure.
I didn't have to list. I know them. So those were one category, and the category that I didn't know, I never heard of, I just made a spreadsheet online with their name and their genre and the link to their music. And so for 2 weeks, I just, if I'm walking the dog or if I'm doing errands or if I'm at home doing the dishes, I'll listen to each submission that I know. And so if it strikes me as like, oh, yeah, and it's very subjective, but if it strikes me as like, wow, this band, and it always happens, there's like 20 bands every year that I'm like, they're local and I've never heard of them, and they're fantastic.
Yeah.
So so that happens, and then I look at their web presence. Do they have like a website? Do they have like a promo picture, or is it just like nothing against having a picture, having your picture on Facebook be like from across the room with a cell phone and whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. But it just shows me that, if you want to be taken seriously, more seriously than the ones who are like, okay, they're like really going at it, and they're investing more than just, like I said, the weekend warrior, musician, that's fine. But it's just like what caught my attention more is like, oh, okay,
Yeah, having a presence is a huge piece to all of these festivals, getting on them.
Since I do have a website, HughShows.com, I'm going to, after this Deutschtown Madness, I'm going to solicit bands to submit for that. A database where, it'll have all the information about your band, how many members, your genre, your links, your email, point contact person, and then people would submit that, and then it'll just be updated. So it'll take a while to grow, obviously, to get the word out and people to submit it, but I think it'll be a nice resource for anybody, promoters, for musicians, for out-of-town bands, for, just to look, oh, okay, we could categorize them by genre. That's the easiest thing to do, is like to sort, one of the categories.
What are some of your favorite things working up towards the Deutschtown Music Festival?
The best part about it is, like, I work my ass off from March 1st when the submission closes. We keep it open for a month. March 1st to, I would say, like late May. That's what I'm doing. I'm organizing, discovering these bands, and putting them in. And then I set up an email chain for Backline. Well, I set up say, hey, you're invited.
Right.
Thank you for applying. If you can't make it because it was 2 months ago that you submitted, let us know now. So then doing that. And then by late May, I have June, I send out Backline emails. And the Backline emails, and I think you're on one of them.
Probably.
Well, yeah, you weren't, because you're just solo acoustic, so there's no backline needed.
But I think you did that last year.
Yeah. So what I do is I say everybody who's playing the park stage, I send them all a same email and CC all of them, and I said, this is your Backline email. You have to, we can't do it as 4 people. You have to try to coordinate Backline to eliminate changeover. Who can you volunteer drums for 3 bands? Can you do it? So they all work that out. And it's so nice this year, because this is the first year out of the 4 that I've been doing it that they're really going hard and really talking to each other and really figuring it out, because with 40 some stages, we can't be everywhere at once. So
and you're not going to be renting gear just to provide it, kind of deal.
Oh, we can't do that. No, we can't. We can't do that either. And so everybody, like this festival, whatever, it's made because of the musicians. It really is.
It's really exciting to see how many submissions you get, 1, and then 2 to know how many are local. And I know, running sound myself around the city, like you said, this band's local. Where did they come from?
Where did they come from? Right. Why didn't I hear of this band? And they're fantastic. Every year it happens. Every year I discover, like, 10 new bands, and I'm like, oh, they're awesome. You know?
Well, it kind of goes on here. How do you feel that Deutschtown Music Festival benefits the Pittsburgh music scene?
Oh, it's huge.
I mean, you're getting all of these bands to work together on Backline. You're seeing all of these local bands that are like, I want people to come and see us. I want to party with all of these people.
It's huge. It's just even before with Rant. Rant was a different monster, but now with Millville Music Festival and Deutschtown Music Festival and Vine Rewind and Picklesburg, like any big opportunity for a local music showcase just benefits everybody, the musician, the fans, the people putting on the event, because we will have thousands and thousands of people down on the north side this weekend. Thousands, like 20,000, 30,000 all over, and what they're there for is music. You know, and to say like, oh, local music is dead or whatever I hear about that, it's like you're not looking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can find a band every night play. Just look on my calendar.
Right.
You know, and but no, it's just such a great time. And you know, I'm first and foremost a music fan. Whatever I do, I love to go see bands, right? But you know, 3 years in a row, and I know it will happen this year. I just sit there because I'm basically done. My job is finished.
You get
You
to
know what
walk
I mean?
around and enjoy the scenery now.
I get to walk around.
Get to
and
go
just,
to the show.
Well, I go to the shows. Yeah, I like the main stage is called the HughShows stage. It was called that last year. I insisted. I was like, I'm doing all this damn work. It's called the HughShows stage.
My stage.
Yeah, and it's not that I booked it or not that I wanted. It's the biggest stage. I wanted to call HughShows. Just whatever. So I'll be hanging out there and introducing bands, but I'll go to the park stage and introduce bands. I'll go in. It doesn't matter, threadbare, and introduce a band. I just enjoy doing it, but yeah, I sit there in awe. I really do. I'm like, this is amazing. It's amazing what they pulled off. It really is.
I'm excited to be a part of it. I know so many people involved with it. Half of the regular small staff is performing throughout the entire weekend.
Yeah.
So that'll be pretty exciting to.
What can name the bands? Like,
well, let's see. We got Drowning Clowns. There's
Drowning
I
Clowns.
think Jenny and the Jags.
Jenny and the Jags. Yeah.
Sun King. Well, Sun King Wars are related with us.
And that idea was mine.
Yeah.
It was Friday night on the HughShows stage because Jim Donovan applied, Liz applied with Drowning Clowns, and Jen Wirtz applied with the Jen Wirtz band. So two of them could only play Friday. And so I think Drowning Clowns, I think Liz, and when I got a hold of her, she goes, which band am I going to play in? And I go, well, you applied as Drowning Clowns, so we have you listed. And she goes, okay. And then I contacted the Borstal Boys. Because Patrick's in that band. So it's like, are you interested? And then I was upfront with all of them. I'm like, is this kind of weird that you're all Rusted Rude? And they're like, no, we love it. This is great. So and it would be a great lineup anyway, but just the fact that, they're all former members of Rusted Rude, it's going to be really special.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about what artists might gain.
What are you going to gain, Jeremy?
What am I going to gain?
Yeah, you're the artist.
Man, I get to see so many great musicians. I get to hang out with some of the coolest people I've ever met and meet new people.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to making some new friends.
Are you going to ease up on that green room beer?
I mean, we'll wait till Saturday
what
evening.
What are we going to do? Late Saturday evening?
Late Saturday
okay.
evening, meet me in the green room.
I'll meet you in the green room, and I'm going to be taking a selfie with you, and you're going to be like, I'm going to
have
you,
two
man.
pitchers of that free keg beer with a straw, one for you, one for me. Yeah.
Well, Saturday night, the kegs will probably be kicked. I would imagine. I think they stopped doing it last year at... I
think it was like 8 or 9.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
But there's beer all day. It's great.
Yeah, that's a fun piece. Yeah, I look forward to drinking the beer and enjoying the music.
Well, let's do it. Yeah.
So a couple other things here. I know you're hosting Acoustic Cafe this upcoming Monday.
I am. Jesse contacted me and asked me to host Acoustic Cafe on July 15th. And I've been to one Acoustic Cafe. I've watched the live stream several times. And I am very excited to do it.
Yeah.
Because, he wrote the description of the event, and he mentioned my band. and my band is called Yaver Blue, and that's how you pronounce it, Yaver Blue. And the reason why the band is called Yaver Blue is because I used to play, not like hardly any, but when I would go out and play guitar at a party or something, I always called myself Java Blue. And somebody said, "That's dorky, man." Java Blue. Okay, everything has to be coffee now. And I'm like, "Oh, really?" You know, so I got real conscientious about it. So I changed it to Yaver Blue. Because nobody, if you Google Yaver Blue, which I did the other day, there's nothing. So I'm like, cool, that works.
That's always a good piece when you find out your band name is actually free.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then we've played 3 times in public before during the Christmas shows. The first iteration of Yaver Blue was me and Morgan Arena and Joe Piacquadia, Chet Vincent, Sean Finn, Matthew Fiorello, and Max.
That's a lineup.
Yeah, it was a super group, right?
Yeah, super group.
Max from Recluse in Somerville, and we you know, it was just totally great. So that was the first iteration. The next year at the Christmas show, Yaver Blue was me, Paul Luke, Jesse Prentice, and Joe Piacquadia. And then that was great. And then the third iteration, it was for my birthday show at James Street, and it was me and Madigan Griner on trumpet.
Oh, wow.
So it was just us, but it was a total disaster because for some reason I got nervous playing, and it was hot, and her trumpet was out of tune, but when we practiced, it sounded great.
Yeah.
You know, but who cares? It's like.
So what's the reiteration this year?
Jesse mentioned that he wants me to play because I write my own songs, and I really don't write my own songs. I might have a jam in D out there in the ether somewhere. I might have done that once, but I don't know if I'm going to play. I might play the song. Somebody posted on Facebook, what is the one thing that you've done that nobody else on the face of the earth can claim? And, you know, I'm sure we all could think of a couple, but the one thing that I did do is I was a scenic artist on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in 1989, and for the week of shows that we filmed in the studio, in between breaks, we would just hang out. And one break, it was Fred Rogers and Joe Negri, and Joe had his guitar on. And I walked up to them, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm learning how to play guitar." And Fred's like, "Oh, really? Yeah, well, let's see what you got." So Joe Negri gave me his guitar, and I didn't know too many songs at the time, so I played a Pink Floyd song. And it was like real nice lullaby, and Fred's like, "Oh, that's beautiful. Who is that?" I go, "That's Pink Floyd." He's like, "Oh, I've never heard of him."
Oh.
And I go, "You should check them out. They're great."
That's pretty
He's
exciting.
like, "I think I will. I'll try." Yeah, so I introduced Pink Floyd to Mr. Rogers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is one thing I don't
I
think
know. I don't think anybody else can claim.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And Joe Negri was looking at me like, "You suck." He wasn't impressed. You know?
Oh, man.
Yeah, getting back to Acoustic Cafe. I'm going to be hosting it, and it's from 7 to 11.
So doors are at 6. You
Okay.
show up, you sign up in order of arrival.
Okay.
Rather than stand outside in a line, you come on in, the bar and kitchen are open, hang out. And then at 7 p.m., the host gets the official list and reads everybody's name in order, and they get to come and pick whatever spot's available.
What do you mean? Like, so if you the first 5, like that's the spot that's available, right? Or like spots are different from order of arrival?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you get there and you're like, I'm
Like,
number
say
9 on the list,
Yeah.
I have to wait until I'm called. So number 9, okay, there's nothing in the 8 o'clock hour. I have to wait until 10 o'clock. I'll sign up
really?
then, or something
Oh,
like
okay.
that, you know.
All right.
Or there's one guy who comes. My buddy Andrew Laswell. He specifically takes the first song of the 10 o'clock hour.
Okay. Well, he has to come through me.
Right. Well, he tries to get
better.
there to do
No,
that.
I'm like,
He'll come and find you.
yeah, he
come
will.
find you. Yeah.
Slip me a 5.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
No,
I'll even get you up there a minute early.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
9:59, buddy.
Yeah. Come on, we're waiting. You know.
No. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I just don't know if there's hardcore. You know, like
There's regulars.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there are. Yeah, like and when I was talking to Jesse about, I want to play something really cool, or he was like, well, you know, form a band with, I thought about it, but then
After Deutschtown, you're gonna be real tired. Yeah.
yeah,
But no, it'll be a great time. Get everybody together.
totally, come on out to the Funhouse at Mr. Small's, Monday, July 15th.
6 p.m.
6.
Anything more that you'd like to discuss about HughShows?
HughShows.
Going
Yeah.
backwards a bit, they will edit this all together.
Yeah, no, but I just I reinvested in a website, HughShows.com, and I like what it turned out to be. There's a live concert calendar on there, and that's like generated through Facebook's events. So if you have a Facebook event for your show, just invite me, Hugh Twyman, not HughShows, Hugh Twyman, and it'll automatically be in the concert calendar. So I'm trying to spread the word about that as a resource. The blog is still going strong, and I call it First Last Friday because First Last, I don't do it every day because I didn't want to get burned. I don't know if we talked about that on
Yeah, I think we
camera.
mentioned. Yeah.
First Last, yeah. So, First Last Friday. So I only do it every Friday, just to keep it there. But and I got a great band. This is the one band. Not the one band, but the submission to the Deutschtown Music Festival this year. They're called Niku Drama. And there are 3 women who play feedback noise music.
Interesting.
It's very interesting, and they are into knives, and they're real hardcore videos of surgery. And so I'm like, this is blowing my mind. I love it. It's a palate cleanser.
It's very different.
Yeah. And Neil's excited to see them at Blacksmith Studios at 8 p.m. on Saturday. And that's a bill with a lot of Crafted Sounds. Connor Murray from Crafted Sounds, a local record label.
Right.
A lot of his bands are on there. And Prince X and Just Fern, Mags' last show, is going to be in Pittsburgh on Saturday at Blacksmith Studios. So check them out. And then Nico Dorama, and then followed by Weird Paul Rock Band.
Oh, I love Weird Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm running sound there.
And you're running sound there.
Yeah.
You're gonna. I'll definitely be popping in there because it's like 2 blocks from the main stage anyway, the Hugh Show stage anyway. So that's awesome.
Well, I'm pretty excited to see how Deutschtown goes. I know it's going to be
go
rock
great.
and roll.
The weather, huh?
Yeah. Oh,
The weather's perfect.
it's perfect.
I mean, it's gonna be.
Who'd you pay for that? You know what I
Well,
mean? That one. I always wondered how these festivals get away with this with no rain. You know what I mean?
You just get lucky. I mean, real lucky. I mean, that's all it is. And I don't stress about it. I don't worry about it. I just go and have a good time. But yeah, I know God. So I'm cashing in some favors.
It's pretty exciting to see the Pittsburgh music scene really just encouraging each other, supporting each other.
Always.
There's so many venues. There's so many
Always.
bands, and like you said, you never want to call it a competition, and you don't want to just give out somebody's information.
You can't.
But you want to see the growth.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. And you hear stories about cliques and somewhat competition within some communities and scenes in the industry, but it's like high school. Everybody can't be friends.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think as a group, this entire scene is trying to just ignore all of that and work together.
Yeah.
And encourage each other.
Yeah, it's fun. People are nice.
People are nice.
People are so nice, and it's like easy to get involved in somebody you want to work with, and it just the thing is to spread the word amongst people who don't usually, oh, I didn't know this was happening, or I didn't know this band, or I didn't know these venues, and that's what, how we do that is, I don't know, go out to, when fall starts in colleges and start spreading the word. I'm going to do that. I'm going to send out HughShows stuff.
Right.
All on the bulletin boards and stuff, so.
Yeah. We'll keep growing, Hugh.
I will, Jeremy. As long as you're here, I'll be doing it, man.
Me too.
Right on, buddy.
We keep going.
And what's your band called? Your new band with Eric Sorelli?
Liola.
And it's you, Eric?
Eric Sorelli, Mark Lyons, and Mike Speranzo.
And Mark Lyons is...
The Long Hunt.
The Long Hunt. Oh, yeah. Mark, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then who's the...
Mike Speranzo.
Okay, cool.
He's also in Drowning Clowns,
right.
New band called The Remote, and owner here at Mr. Smalls with Liz.
Right, so Mike will be down on the main stage, HughShow stage for Drowning Clowns.
For Friday, yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Expect some rock and roll
at
the Deutschtown Music Festival.
July 12th and 13th and 14th.
I saw that. You added a gospel brunch.
Gospel brunch. I think they
great.
flirted with it last year, but this year is like they're going to go hard, and it's going to be great. It's going to be like its own little festival.
Yeah.
So.
Sunday morning. Check that out, too.
Yeah. And go to DeutschtownMusicFestival.com for the schedule. We're going to have bus routes. We're going to have a loop. There's tons of stuff to do. I mean, besides the music, there's food trucks. There's Beer.
There will be beer.
There's going to be beer.
Is there beer?
I think so. Yeah, if you do come down by the main stage, HughShows stage, if you buy a $5 wristband, that goes straight to the artist. So we can hopefully compensate them for the 4 years that I've been doing it. We've been able to do,
Yeah.
Hopefully that works out.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in here to Smalls Talk, again with Hugh Twyman. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you. Well, thank you again for tuning in to Smalls Talk here. Thanks so much. We appreciate you. We're here with BBGuns this evening. My name is Jeremy Kaywood. I'll be your host. And gentlemen, JP, Joel, how you guys feeling?
Pretty good.
Good. Glad you're here.
Just swell.
Just swell. That's a fantastic feeling. So
Certainly is.
I'm going to come right out the gate with the where did you come up with your name, BBGuns?
Well, we had another name before. We've had several names before BBGuns, but we were Lazy Blackman before we were BBGuns because he was Lazy JP and I was Bars Blackman. And then after a while, like it got difficult for people, especially like whenever he would have to meet people by himself to like get past the name, which was understandable. So we picked BBGuns after like going through and like trying to decide between several names because it was something that we could define and was just nice and regular and in the middle.
Yeah, it's a really, really strong name to just stand out. Very simple to catch on to. Very like great music to be like, I know the band BBGuns. You know what I mean? So that's a really fun piece. Was there at one point after you changed the name that you were a little bit like, maybe we should find something a little bit different, or you were like so hooked on BBGuns?
I think we haven't really looked back since,
Yeah.
really. I know that when like we just had like parameters when we picked it. Like we wanted one word, but BBGuns like cheated. It's kind of two words that we pretend is one word. But we wanted because like all those one word band names or like Pixies like with the plural.
Right.
Like I wanted a classic, real like minimal name, and then we had just this big long list of names, not just single words, but big long lists, and then we just kept whittling them down. We like us and our team or friends, we voted on them, and that's what we came up with.
Yeah. Well, you also have some logos I've seen come out that most recently with this new album, Help Yourself. Can you tell me how the art came before we get into the actual art of the music? Can you tell me how the art for the album came together?
Up to this point, I've like done all of our like graphic stuff myself.
Very cool.
But for this one, like I was just like on Facebook or whatever and scrolling, and I saw a lot of these popsicles, these real minimal popsicles, with just plain colored backgrounds on different colors and like swatches. And I found out that John Muldoon was who was doing them, and I hit him up and I was like, I'm in love with these. Like I would really like to use it for an album cover or something. And he let us use it for like next to nothing, and he's really helped us out and let us make T-shirts with it, and
That's awesome.
it's awesome. Yeah, it's really great. Annika Ignazi, I think, helped. She designed as well, it just fit the title. We had the title, I think, already, and then that just like fit it even better. Like it was great. I couldn't have been more perfect.
Oh, that's a lot of fun to find out that process there. So you had the title already also, and you're working with these logos. What was the true inspiration for like this is going to be the set of songs for the album? What brought you to the set of songs for the album?
That's a good question.
We just kind of made songs until we had enough. We wrote a couple extra. In the past, I think as soon as we hit 10, we'd be like, all right, we're done. And then I think sometimes at the end of the process, we get so fired up about being done that we end up like making a couple more just because we're so the creative juices are flowing or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up we wanted this to be leaner than the last one. The last one was 13 tracks. This one is 11. Just wanted to be leaner and meaner, and it was when we were kind of had an urgency to put something new out. So as soon as we got to 10, we were like, okay, let's make a couple more and then pick the best.
Your genre. How do you guys like to classify your genre? Because you bring a lot of pieces. Is it just straight hip hop in your eyes, or do you really feel you've got other aspects that you can identify with?
This has been the golden question for a while because, like you said, we bring all these different pieces together. It almost is like a disservice to call it one thing over another thing so I don't know. I personally, I just don't call it anything and just let y'all listen to it and whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it a hip hop album, call it that. If you want to call it an indie album, call it that. It's just music to me.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at too. Just like take me and do what you want with what we are. I think I fought it in the past. Sometimes like, oh, we're hip hop, and then there's been phases where I'm like, well, we're different. We're indie, or like I always push that sometimes, like we're just an indie act because indie is like such a general thing, but it's also not mainstream. So I don't know, but it's not like alternative either, which I feel like has a different connotation. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like want to force it. I don't try to force it anymore. Hip hop is definitely the foundation. It's what we started doing.
Yeah, it's the core.
But pop music, indie pop, indie rock, trip hop, acid house, all that disco, all that stuff is really important to what we do. Grunge, whatever. It's all part of the machine, I guess. Yeah.
A true artist's artist. Let the person witnessing, hearing, experience, and create their own description of, and enjoy it and love it and call it what they'd like to.
It's taken a long time to get to this point. I think we've only just lately come to it.
Do you think that is like letting go of an ego or something?
I don't think it's necessarily that. I think to keep it a buck with you, I think honestly it gets to a point where you just get tired of trying to come up with a catchy name for something. It's like, you know what? I don't like, why call it anything? Like, let people figure it out. Because I don't know what to call it. He doesn't know what to call it.
I get tired of it trying. Or like you also like, I want to explain it, or like I'll give him a list of things that are like I think are the components that like if you put them together it would make sense. Or I'll just say like, oh, we're like gorillas but different, or something like that. But yeah, I stopped doing that. I just let it happen. Call me what you want anymore.
Yeah.
I've heard it all. I've heard so many different things.
Let the music be what the music is. That's a great poignant spot there. There's been a lot of talk about your guys' album around the scene, and I know I work in the scene quite a bit. I know a lot of friends that just have been raving about this album, and it is fantastic. Where did you record it? Let's start back there.
What If Studios in Springdale with If Crack Kills, a.k.a. Crack Kills.
Ian Hill, yeah, he's been a friend for a really long time. We've been recording with him since he started his studio. He mainly does hip hop there, rap stuff out there. We've been working with him for a long time. I think comfort is important to us in the studio. Not being afraid to just be as weird or try something wild or like feel the pressure of time or even the money stuff. It's nice to have that comfort, and we're learning together. Like we've grown. His equipment has gotten better. He's learned over the years. We ask him to do stuff that is definitely out of his wheelhouse. Like in terms of like, oh, I show him some rock song, and I'm like, I want this to sound like this, and it's like a rap song already, and he's, we're learning together, and because it's really fun. It's like to experiment, and it's a good team.
It's a challenge of creativity, not just in yourselves, but with other people who are being creative in the community, right?
Yeah.
And you guys have been heavily involved in the Pittsburgh music scene. So dropping this album, do you feel like, I'm not going to say, did you feel like you've moved up? Do you feel like you have made an album to represent yourselves at the highest level at this point? Or are you still searching for that highest song, that greatest feeling that you can provide for other people that you created? Is that too deep? Should I take it back?
No, that's a good question.
No, I like that question.
I think that there's still like, I love this album. Like I think that we really knocked this out of the park, like from the start of it. And maybe it's just like the way that I am as a person, but I always feel like there's always a little bit more that you can do. Like even whenever it's done, like there's always, I could always have tightened up a verse or could have made a better verse for something, or we could have made this part tighter, or we could have done this. Or maybe it's like, no, we didn't get into like that spot of like of ourselves to put into the music to take it to that place yet. So I don't know. I think that this is definitely like a solidifying thing, this album, but I still think we have something deeper in there.
That's awesome to hear. I mean, I love the album, and I can't wait to hear more. Obviously, I'm very excited for you guys. I've released a couple myself, and the journey to get there it can be exhausting and at the same time very invigorating. And then once it's done, it's almost like Christmas Day as a child. What happens next? You know?
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a part of our process is being very self-critical and self-aware and being aware of the limitations. We work with a lot of different people, a lot of different collaborators, whether it's people that make beats or people that play. You know, we have a lot of, work with players and stuff. And sometimes you want to do more with more people and stuff, and it's not that easy to get things to come together and just things work out. But if I had $1 million and all my friends had all the time in the world, then maybe I can make the record I want to. But at the same time, people get to that point and they lose what makes the rawness that makes those early records good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we got plenty of room to grow, but I do think this is a big step forward from what we've done in the past. It's in the same vein, but it's more confident in the ideas, whereas we were like uncertain and didn't think we had anything before.
That's very exciting. It's very exciting. Are you guys going on tour soon?
We actually just got back early this morning from doing a couple of shows in Ohio over the weekend. Then we'll be going back on the road the last 2 weekends of July.
Yeah, trying to do consistent weekenders. We both have full-time jobs, so
that makes it hard.
And yeah, he just got a new one, so we're trying to work up some paid time off, I guess, and get back on for like a long one. But yeah, weekenders and as much as we can.
When you go on tour, I've only done a handful myself, but when I see other bands, I wonder what the concept is. Do I go as far away as I can first and come back? Do I go a little bit out, a little bit farther on a different direction, a little bit farther, kind of like a spiral effect, I've heard. Do you have a concept whenever you approach where you want to book? Do you have friends in those cities? What brings you to book your tour? Not just getting promotion, but what inspires you to choose the locations?
I think there's so many factors. Obviously you want to play places where you think that you have people that can bring people. I think that's the number one thing. I'll drive anywhere if there's going to be people there.
Sure.
But at the same time, you got to have the connecting ones to the good ones. So for us, I usually like to just make a big circle so that like we end that last day drive isn't that far and the first day drive isn't that far. But we haven't been that far south yet, just because we haven't had the contacts. And like Ohio and Michigan are probably like the places we go the most, or in New York and Philly. Like it's either we go east or we go west. And those seem to be the places we do the best. But yeah, like I think it's just you're kind of limited to who you know until you get like a booking agent or something.
Yeah, you guys are DIY gentlemen.
Still very DIY.
Homegrown. Yeah, that's fantastic to hear.
Doing our best.
Yeah, it seems like you're doing well. Do you have any thoughts on the tour concept, or you kind of agree? You guys work as a partnership, it seems here.
No, I mean that's
business partnership.
That's essentially where it is. Wherever we can go, we see where we can, and then we just build from there and just try to connect the dots as we can. Sometimes it's easier. It's easier. Sometimes it's not so easy. Other times, but you just go where you can go. Get in where you fit in.
Yeah, like the young bands, they can just keep touring and and like that's what they should do. But like where we're at, it's like I always use the analogy like setting the fires in different places, and then like you got to nurture them. You got to keep going back every like a few months and keep growing that fire, that little spark into a flame, and hopefully it gets bigger. And I feel like Cleveland for us has become like a city that like we can go to, and a lot of people like now know who like we are. Not a lot like here, but
sure.
But there's a crowd that will come to see us, and it's cool. But I wish you want to have that more places.
Sure.
So, I don't know. It's a process, and it's a time-consuming one.
And you are homegrown from Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And being from Pittsburgh, do you have some favorite locations that you've performed in Pittsburgh or being on tour. Same side question, any favorite locations you've played on tour? You say you like Cleveland, that you're starting to get a following, but not like Pittsburgh, so I don't know if there's anything relative there.
We always play at the Plymouth House in Cleveland, and it's a house house venue, and it just has these smacking parties.
Yeah, the vibe in there it's indescribable. You just have to go. If you're in Cleveland and you want something to do, see if there's a show at Plymouth House. And
But
go.
it seems primarily a party house, but they just book good bands. Like the people that live there have good taste, and so you're getting a good crowd. But the crowd's into the music. Like,
Yeah.
I've never seen something like that. Like DIY shows, I've seen giant DIY crowds that are really into the music, but not be this party oriented at the same time. So I don't know. We're not really party guys, so it's kind of a contrast. But as far as like getting a good show, I'm always down to go.
You guys help make a great party. I've been a part of some parties
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
I mean,
have
I
had
know,
you
yeah.
involved, you know.
It's a gift and a curse, really, because we like to go to bed, but we'll do our duty. We'll do the duty.
Well, along the lines of favorite things, how about a favorite song from the new album or favorite song that you like to perform, that you look forward to performing at some of your next shows? I know Deutschtown you're performing. That's coming up this upcoming weekend,
Yeah.
July 12th and 13th, as well as your tour in July at the end there.
Favorite song on the album?
But yeah, favorite song on the album.
If
on
you
the
don't-
album
if you don't got one, I can go.
It's between two for me, so you answer and I'll think about it.
I mean, it's definitely between probably two for me, but Xanadu is my favorite. It's my favorite one. I feel like it's like we took a big like cool risk, and I think it really paid off on it. Like the rhythm change and everything, and like because the hip hop is very like loop based, and sometimes you end up riding the same rhythm and chords for the whole thing. But we're trying to work on having more section changes between chorus and verses and stuff like that, and it was just super paid off. Love it, and I love performing. It's wild to perform now too.
So creative challenges inspire some sort of favoritism, I think, to a lot of people as well. When I challenged myself this way and I saw a positive result, I'm going to latch on to that, and I want my friends to see it and engage in that as well. That's a really great take and answer to the question.
I'm gonna go with Rose Gold that features Shea Park because that verse is one of my favorite verses I ever wrote, and it's probably the most honest verse I ever wrote. And I just really loved how Shea absolutely crushed her part. He was excellent in all of his parts too. And the beat, our friend Logan made the beat, and it's a great beat. Like it's just. It's a song that I find myself singing it all the time, even before like the album came out, I sung it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's the one that sticks with me the most.
Oh, that's fun. How creativity has a way of influencing attachment to things, whether it be your own or watching your peers and friends. So it's great to be working with you guys here this day. I know you've played Mr. Smalls a few times before, sometimes at the main stage or at the Funhouse. Do you remember how long ago it was that you first performed at Mr. Smalls?
It probably was that
Like
battle.
2016. It was like
No, that was before that. Yeah,
2015.
that was like 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
So like
there-
2015,
yeah,
2016
Steel
is like
City
3-4
Smackdown,
years.
They had a rap battle here, and it was. I've never seen anything like it here.
A rap battle at Mr. Smalls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it was
with big,
cool.
Like with big name rap.
Yeah, like
deals.
real battle rappers, like not just like Billy from around the way
Yeah.
that goes ahead and gets drunk and raps a little bit, like real battle rappers. It was wild.
Yeah,
That's-
Real Deal is from Pittsburgh, and he's pretty big on the circuit. And they got him and like some other big name guys, and then we were like an opening performer for it. It was cool. It was a really cool event. It was probably one of the coolest events that DJ Afterthought put it together. It was probably one of my favorite things that he probably has ever put together.
Yeah, I had like a battle rap phase like after that, like a couple years after that, and I was like, wow, I got to see a couple of these people that I'm like going back and watching these videos for, and they're like top tier battle rappers, and I didn't even know.
Was that during BBGuns' reign or before?
That was even before Lazy Blackman, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
we performed together, but we
weren't like officially a duo at that
We're
point.
probably just JP and Bars Black, Lazy JP and Bars Blackman, or something like that. I think we also went to Subterranean Aliens for a while. But yeah, it's us. Whatever you want to call
been
it.
you guys.
It's still us.
BBGuns.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Last question from me. You've been involved in a lot of different music communities, individually and together. You've been a part of many different events, some of them a lot in Pittsburgh. You've traveled, it's clear, you've talked about that. Coming back to Pittsburgh, how do you feel being a part of this scene and being a part of a cultivation of it? You're at a time where you're watching this thing grow again. We've all been watching it grow, and it grows and it grows and it grows, and then it comes back down, it grows and grows and grows. It comes back. You're at a point now where the communities are trying to kind of coincide more than they ever have. And how do you feel you fit into this evolution?
It's a gift and a curse. It's a gift because like we can go ahead and go a lot of places and play with people of all sorts of different genres, which is great because we get to be in front of a lot of different people. But at the same time, because we don't quite fit anywhere, it's like you don't really have like a real like home. So it can be a struggle at times whenever you just kind of want to go ahead and like be the, I guess, sit at like the cool kids table like for some side or another, and you just can't. But it is what it is, and it's great to be here because this is a great time for the scene right now, and I love seeing all of these different bands and acts from different genres working together. I hope it continues. I really want it to keep going.
I think the answer to the first part of the question, the scene coinciding is a boon for us. Like doing multiple different things, like mixed bills are where we thrive, really. That's the stuff we do best on. But there's a lot of scenes individually that are stronger than ever. You know, we've watched the hip hop scene for a decade now, and it's strongest I've seen it since Shadow Lounge. And everyone's doing great. Other scenes as well. Like DIY, there's a lot of emo bands that are doing really good, like Shin Guard, Screamo, and it's doing really, really good now. But sometimes, like when there's tight knit genre stuff, we get shut out because we don't perfectly fit with something. But yeah, the more things mix, the better it is. But I think Pittsburgh music in general is doing well, and that's good, regardless of how we benefit or not. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here at this point.
I would agree with you, myself as well. All the awesome jobs that I've had the opportunity to be a part of, and pieces of the community to see all of this just camaraderie coming out, and collaborations with musicians, collaborations with production companies. Yeah, we butt heads on our own, but if we finally start working together, it's really exciting to see what can come of that. Again, creativity can give you something that you are proud of, that you want to latch onto and you want to share with your friends. So one last question. What is your favorite color individually?
Blue.
Green.
Okay, that's awesome. BBGuns right here. SMALLS Talk, everybody.
Forgot to call you, sorry, guess the fault's mine. Oh, fuck it, I'm struggling in the quicksand. I've been bugging a couple months, but I'm living. Got a crutch for a cutter, but and some thick pants. But I'm dumb enough to get stuck in something I can't stand. Been blowing weed smoke since the weed blows. Keep on sleeping on a dream, the whole team's woke. Creep up on the scene, you know we bleed blokes. There's people in the meeting, need no. No need to explain this man's ramble. The only thing is ain't shit changed from this angle. And what remains are the same things I can't handle. You get paid for the ratings, baby, you get canceled. I know what it's like. 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 My pen laborious,
Allegories pouring from my orifice. These northern lights is nice, I'm feeling gorgeous. Now that we have toured a bit, how long you gonna ignore the shit? Running out of patience for this fake shit, I've got bored of it. Rebel in the fact that we rebels of this rap game. Pedal to the mat, I ain't settling for last place. Metal with the dabs, pedal pack just to stack, main. Bag of acid tabs, keep me rolling like a craps game. We keep it pushing like a sumo while you throw salt. And hit the devil in his, I know that's a close call. From this position, my mission's fixing my own faults. Had to crack the code so I could open up the stone vault. I was blind, now I'm seeing through the bullshit. And I be spying how they lying in the pulpit. These shepherd slappers be steady pulling the wool. Quick deception's a weapon, and I reckon they keep a full clip.
I know what it's like. 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 La 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 la. I don't want you to go. La 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 la. I say I will, but I won't. La 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 la. I don't want you to go. La 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 la. I gotta do, but I don't. I know what it's like with my eyes closed. High notes amplified by the blindfold. I know what it's like with my eyes closed. High notes amplified by the blindfold. I know what it's like with my eyes closed. High notes amplified by the blindfold. I know what it's like with my eyes closed. High notes amplified by the blindfold.
I'm way too turned off the haze you burnt. I'm amazed you weren't in a daze, babe. At the same time, you displayed signs that you're a hard-nosed vet in the game. Ay, so slide through and I provide you with the time of day so we can find a way to reach the peace we seek and fly away. No need to compete or do it time and say, hey. So let me see that booty in that one piece. Flex it, then I stretch it like a movie for the One Piece. Come a dumb heat for the umpteenth time. Girl, come see if you wanna be mine.
Some days I can feel I run away with you. Other days I just like to run away from you. Some days I've been living in the summertime. Other days I just sit around and wonder why. This is my greatest escape. This is my favorite part. I bet the day's gonna break along with every heart. I let the day decay waste away. I pray to stay awake, baby. I try to play it straight, try to pave a way. Need to change the pace lately. It's hard to do and I'm passing through. There's so much stuff that I have to do. My out of touch, my ankles rusted. I thank you much for the gratitude. I'm always acting so distracted. I have no sense or a course of action. I think I'm swimming in the deep end. I think I'd rather live alone and sleeping. I couldn't help it, I'm melting into myself. I'm feeling selfish, I think that I'll help myself. I couldn't help it, I'm melting into myself. I'm feeling selfish, I think that I'll help myself. Some days I can feel I run away with you. Other days I just like to run away from you. Some days I've been living in the summertime. Other days I just sit around and wonder why.
We can come together like a fusion dance. I won't abuse the chance to stand with you again. Laying in the sun, here to play another drums. They were saying I was done.